Good journey, everyone. Welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. Had a little bit of a quick glitch in the room, so had to go fix that on my TV because I gotta watch some Star Wars while I'm doing this, right? So how's everybody doing today? I already got some comments coming through for the little question I threw up there because definitely going to talk a lot about that trailer that came out this past week. Man, my hair's all like kind of like goofy today. I didn't really do much today. Had a lot going on. So lack of sleep this week so far, and yeah, it's been busy. But only working for a few days, and then I'll be off for 4 days, which is great. Nice 4 day weekend. It'll be fabulous, much needed. Ben, welcome by the way, and already commenting on that trailer. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I am right there with you with that. But again, welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. I am the Crucial Crew member, and yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about Skeleton Crew this week. It's we're in that 1 month out countdown, so can't wait for this. Uh, Excited to talk about it, but we're gonna do a little Star Wars, you know, normal. What we do, what I do every day is a lot about talking about Star Wars history and things that happen in Star Wars history. And I do this mainly on my YouTube channel on my drive to work in a little segment called Not Long Ago in This Galaxy. And we're going to go back to 2014 today. Something spectacular happened. We never thought we were going to get any more movies than the original six, right? And then we had that Disney purchase and Lucasfilm, and we knew these movies were going to be coming, and not all of them came, but we did we did get that one announcement that there was going to be a 7, 8, and 9 to finish out the Skywalker saga. And what happened today, November the 6th, 2014, was the announcement that Star Wars Episode 7 has a name. Um, and that name was The Force Awakens. And that was announced on social media. I remember the post on Twitter, what is now X, but Twitter back then, Star Wars The Force Awakens, it appeared just like this in a post. And the post actually stated that Star Wars principal photography for Episode 7 has been completed. And we got the name, Star Wars The Force Awakens, in this format, which again was different from the original six. We had the first three have their own little way of showing the Star Wars name. They didn't really coincide with each other. They had their own little their own little title sequence in a way. But the prequels kind of held to like episode 1, 2, and 3 with the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, or Revenge of the Sith kind of being written. Either I think it was on the bottom part. It would say Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I think all of them kind of followed that format. And then the sequels ended up following this format. Star Wars with the title going through the middle. So, first was The Force Awakens, then The Last Jedi, and then Rise of Skywalker, all kind of having a different color in the lettering of Star Wars. The Force Awakens being yellow, kind of going back to that original Star Wars look and color scheme of the title crawl there. But The Last Jedi being red, and then Rise of Skywalker being blue, I believe, if I'm, not losing my mind. But yeah, so The Force Awakens, the title of Star Wars Episode 7, released today, November 6th, 2014. And then we got the movie a year later. Super excited about that, knowing that there was a new momentum going forward, that there was going to be more films. And we got five. We got five. Which I talked about this last week, that if you kind of go back with the original kind of schedule of Star Wars films, getting one, really when the first announcement was made, it was going to be like one every other year. But then they kind of pushed it a little bit and said they were going to do like, one in between, which I think went a little bit over the top. And I think there was just too much going on there. But honestly, like a lot of the films that were supposed to be made got turned into Disney Plus series. That wasn't in the original intent of Disney to do these series on television. It might have been in the back of their mind, but streaming wasn't that big yet until COVID happened. And I think we've gotten actually more Star Wars content than was originally intended. Honestly, I think people feel that it's been cut back and we haven't gotten as much as we were supposed to. But I think we've gotten plenty. I think we've gotten way more than we've deserved with Disney. So I think it's been a success. I think a lot of it, a lot of the series have been amazing. I enjoyed all of them, and yeah, I kind of wish that some of them would be carrying on a little bit more, even though they've said that they're not. But who knows? Maybe they'll continue in a different format and a different entity. Already kind of like getting dry throat there. But yeah, so this happened in November 6th, 2014. Again, Star Wars: The Force Awakens is the real title for Episode 7, which is up until this point, that is what we knew it as. Also completing its principal photography today. So that's what happened not long ago in this galaxy. Again, I usually post something like that on Instagram every day as far as something in Star Wars history. I've been a little up and down on that in this past like couple weeks, just with like things going on. But hopefully I'll get back into a good routine of that. But yeah, that is your not long ago in this galaxy history today in Star Wars. So another kind of announcement this past week, and I don't know if anybody's a NASCAR fan. I kind of am. I enjoy it. I've never been to a NASCAR event, but I do sometimes enjoy watching it. I don't really get the chance to because I'm not really home a lot of times when these events happen. And then also, you got football going on a lot of times on the weekends. So it's that's really what I kind of cater to is football. But yeah, NASCAR a big thing, and Star Wars teamed up with Columbia Reveal, and then also Bubba Wallace and his cars. And last year for the 2023 season, if you remember, and I actually remembered posting about this and talking about this on this podcast last year when his car was wrapped in the Luke Skywalker X-wing format, and then his helmet had almost like the X-wing pilot look. The orange jumpsuit was his suit and everything. But now this season, they've gone to the dark side. They've gone to the dark side with this new Darth Vader inspired paint scheme, which is really, really cool. You can actually see driver Bubba Wallace here in the picture with Hayden Christensen, actually, who got to do a little bit of a photo spot with him, as well as Doug Chang. I don't have a photo of that, but Doug Chang actually helped create the look of the scheme of the paint scheme on the car. So, but got that dark side look with Vader and the red and the saber kind of going across the hood, which is really cool. Yeah, so this is different from the Rebel pilot inspired gear. And then yeah, his helmet is Darth Vader themed as well. And so yeah, this is a really cool cool scheme with the helmet and the racing suit as well, which they're referring to it as the fire suit. I mean, it's that's what it is a fire suit. Basically, if the cars catch fire, they do help protect the drivers. So, but which is kind of interesting. Darth Vader or kind of burned and then had to become Darth Vader. And this fire suit is actually a fire suit. If Anakin was wearing the suit, maybe, he would have fared a lot better. But yeah, so really, really cool paint scheme here, or wrap on the car that's, Vader inspired. And you'll be able to see it debut November 10th. So coming up pretty quickly. This weekend, right, is November 10th. Yeah, because what is this? It's the 6th today. So 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So Sunday, if you're watching NASCAR, you can see this paint scheme of Bubba Wallace's car. And then also following along that tradition, kind of like what they did last year with the Luke Skywalker X-wing jumpsuit and paint and I could keep calling it a paint scheme. They do not paint these cars like this. This is just a wrap that they put on them. It's a little bit easier, especially with how much damage they get in the races. It's easier to repair with the wraps. But continuing on that tradition of the Star Wars inspired themes, Columbia is also unveiling their new seasonal Darth Vader apparel collection, which is coming out on Tuesday, November 19th. I do have like some of the pictures of the helmet close up as well, which is pretty cool. The helmet as well, very like that, just that subtle look of Darth Vader, with the where the cheek is and the breathing mask and so forth. And then the previous one, I already closed it out, but the previous one did have the jumpsuit as well, that Bubba Wallace will be wearing, which looks a lot like Vader's garment underneath beneath his cape, of what it looks like with the chest piece and everything. But pretty cool. But yeah, so that was a pretty cool announcement. And with the NASCAR season starting, you'll get to see that this weekend. So pretty awesome if you're a NASCAR fan, if you're a Bubba Wallace fan, and you're a Star Wars fan. All that coming together in one thing there. So pretty awesome. Love the mashups Star Wars gives us with all of that. So now let's talk about Skeleton Crew. So we got this last week a brand new Skeleton Crew trailer and some new key art that was revealed this week, which is so exciting. I'm gonna go ahead and throw up the key art that that was provided for us, because it does give us a cool new look. You remember the teaser look that that was released was kind of them walking through the field. But this is a piece of the actual, a little bit close up of that key art, a little bit better here with some of the main characters of the series in that key art there. But as we're reminded, the story of Skeleton Crew is set in the era of the New Republic, kind of along the same lines of where the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, all of those series have been taking place in the Mandoverse, if you would say. And as far as like where in that timeline we are, kind of don't really know as of for sure yet. But it seems like we're probably at the end of that series, because some of the characters from Mandalorian season 3 are in Skeleton Crew, and it looks like they're on their own, whereas in Mandalorian season 3 they were with other groups. I don't want to spoil too much because I know people don't really watch the trailers, and they kind of try to stay away from the story as much as possible because they want to be surprised. So I don't like to spoil too much. So if you've seen it, some of the characters. I probably will mention those a little bit later. So if you really don't like spoils, you probably don't want to like watch as I'm talking about this. But yeah, it's got the feel of the trailer, and this is where Ben kind of threw up his comment here, that the music and the feel of it with Star Wars meets Stranger Things, and I thought of that too. Honestly, with the way the font was of the trailer, very Stranger Things vibes, especially the music, the 80s music, reminded me of like season 1 of Stranger Things. So yeah, I definitely got that feel as well. The trailer itself, the overall feel of it, especially even the teaser trailer, even to this trailer, and it's been compared to a lot with this, but really takes me back to Goonies, E.T., just those films that even Indiana Jones in a way, just maybe a younger version of Indiana Jones, but it just had that lighthearted adventure feel that all those had. Maybe even if you kind of go back to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, maybe some of those, it just has that feel, that vibe, which I'm really excited about. Kind of that family friendly look, that Amblin Entertainment that we had with those stories. All those stories were just fantastic. So, but the the co-creator Chris Ford basically says of it that it's the story of kids who happen to live on what they think of as a boring planet, and just trying to find an adventure, and then obviously they kind of get sucked into an adventure, I think bigger than what they intended to. And Yeah, I mean that's the heart of like a lot of those stories, like with E.T., Flight of the Navigator, another one, Goonies, all of those. Some a kid that's just looking for adventure in life, that just feels that every day is just boring, and he's you know maybe he's kind of an outsider in a way, but then gets sucked into this big adventure, and then is able to get through this adventure, and a lot of people look up to him after that. So with all those all those movies, but what a fantastic look with these trailers. Um, Getting some of the vibes of Star Wars as a whole in those trailers, with familiar vehicles, some familiar faces, but that is the full new key art for the new kind of like trailer poster for Skeleton Crew, which is currently now the background of my phone wallpaper, because I just want to look at it like every day. But and then a couple of stills, new stills were released, which give us a little bit more insight into some of the characters, especially the pirates. This still was really cool, with some of the pirates that are involved. Some of them, again, with some hints to some characters returning from Mandalorian season 3, and then some new characters, some creatures that we've seen before, that have gone back to the cantina scenes and things like that. Seeing them again, and then some actors that you might recognize that are in this, that are playing some pirates, that would not have thought that they would be in the world of Star Wars, but it's good to see these familiar faces in a different way, and excited to see them join the Star Wars galaxy. But Chris Ford also saying that, as the kids go on this adventure, they're finding their own way. They're becoming really realizing that things are becoming very complicated outside of home, and they attract a lot of attention from a bunch of pirates and other space criminals. I don't know if these are the pirates or the criminals, or maybe they're considered both. I think these are the pirates, though. Honestly, I think so, because one of them is the pirate from Mandalorian season 3, if you recognize that one. But that would be Marty Matulis's character Vane, which is the one there on the left there. You remember him from the being surviving from the battle um, over Navarro, when Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and everyone else defended the planet there from the pirates, and a bunch of other uh, new people. The other character there, next to Vane, which is well, no, not that. Can't remember. I think Brutus is the wolf one. I think so. Um, which again, a character that you or a creature that we've seen in the cantina, that they kind of put in later, right? He was put in. He was one of the ones that was digitally placed in later in the special editions, I believe. Not new, not the same character, but the same species. It looks like. And then who that character is voiced by Fred uh, Tatasciore. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Gunter, which is kind of in between Vane and Brutus. That he's a recognizable face, if you didn't know. But This Jaleel White. Jaleel White, if you don't remember, used to be on Family Matters, I think it was. He was Urkel. He's popped up around here, there, and everywhere, and it's interesting. I mean, I used to watch that show growing up. That was my TGIF weekend, with all those shows growing up as a youngin. It would be interesting to see his character. Kind of fun to see a familiar face, and yeah. I mean, again, the writers, really go back and calling back to Amblin Entertainment, that basically kids really taken seriously, and like being able to like accomplish these adventures together. And they didn't feel like kids movies when you watch them as a kid, because you put yourself into those situations, like, oh, I could do that. So it made you feel like a grown up, something that could go, someone who could go on these adventures. And even looking back at those films, they're all still some of my favorite films. Um, to me, they still are very grown up films, especially Goonies. Goonies to me is a very grown up film, just happens to have kids in them, and I agree with that like so much. Those comments from Chris Ford, that those movies were just so amazing, and to embody that feeling and bring it to Star Wars, I think that's just going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be great. The the series centers around two pairs of best friends, and you kind of can see that from the trailer. You get Wim and Neil, and then Fern and KB, which are the four main characters, and then there's also a teak, which, if you remember what a teak is, you'll know from Star Wars um, past, those characters, and or that character, and where they've popped up before, and we'll see some new teaks, which is great. But and then many other nods to various Star Wars storytelling throughout the years, which Watts and Ford have confirmed. So I love that when they bring in, legends characters, they bring in very obscure characters, which, those are some of my favorite characters, is those background characters that you don't really get to learn a lot about, but these stories about these species, these characters, we get to explore later on more in depth, and we get these amazing characters that encompass this work that has been from forever ago, and then or maybe recently, but just in backgrounds, and we get to expand on the galaxy, which is so much fun. And we did get confirmation from Watts and Ford that Neil is not the same species as Mac Rebo. So a lot of people had been posting about that, talking about that, but it is definitely not the case. That he is a different species. Maybe they're kind of related in a way, but not. They are not the same species. And then yeah, they talk about that there's a lot of thrills in this series, almost kind of comparing some of the parts to Predator, and which is kind of shocking that they would use that as a comparison. So I'm really wondering how dark it is going to get. I mean, Stranger Things got pretty dark. So who knows? Maybe there is going to be a couple episodes that are kind of frightening and scary, which I mean, there was that one little scene in the trailer with like that worm-like creature, so maybe that's what they're hinting at with that one, kind of having that alien vibe, predator vibe, or whatever. So kind of curious about why they had stated that. But then very serious beats, kind of like Empire of the Sun, Flight of the Navigator. So again, especially Flight of the Navigator, a kids film, but very serious tones. And I like that. I love that comparison. So really looking forward to how that comes to play in this series. But the filmmakers from the start were encouraged to find their own unique perspective and story in Star Wars, and you can tell right from the trailer that that's the case. And I think that this is going to be a totally new perspective on Star Wars, different storytelling in the Star Wars galaxy, or the Star Wars universe now, we should say, because we've gone outside of the Star Wars galaxy now. So and use that galaxy as a lens to view it through. So and they Ford said that that's what they had from the beginning. And then later, when they talked to executive producers Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni about the way to approach trying to write in Star Wars, they had advised them to tap into something that they love, which is, you can tell that's what Filoni and Favreau have done. So I love that. And um, you know, they're doing what George Lucas did, but in their own way. Because George Lucas, he loved the Kurosawa films, he loved Flash Gordon, and you saw that in his movies. So they're doing it differently. So it's not going to exactly feel, just like Star Wars, the way George Lucas wrote the movies, but in their own way. And I think that's why Favreau and Filoni have worked together so well, because they're embodying that approach, but it's not the same Star Wars. It's different storytelling in the galaxy. Um, Based on their love of Star Wars and their love of film, and how they approach filmmaking. So really cool. Also, we have we saw the final key art, which was revealed along with the trailer, and then also we see SM33, which is voiced by Nick Frost, which was we had a really cool still released of him, and then a little bit more from him in the trailer as well. So we always love our droids showing up in the movies, and new and exciting characters that we get to see and meet, and then have again more stories expanded upon. So super excited about all of that, and can't wait for that to come out. So December 3rd, we're not too far away from that coming out. So really super excited about that. Again, the music was amazing. I mean, the cool I think it's Tom Majors. Uh, um, and I can't remember the name of the song, but I've been listening to it, which is cool. But I mean, that song actually was in English and also in another language. I can't remember which one. I think it was German, the original version of that song, but then also in English. But this version, which I almost didn't realize at first, when I first heard it through the trailer, I was like, "Oh, they're doing the original language of that song." But no, it's a new version of that song, and it's in Huttese. Which again, the first time to my knowledge, I think the first time to anybody's knowledge, that a song, an actual, popular song on the radio, has been like remade into a Star Wars language song. We've had a lot of original songs that that have been written and provided for Star Wars, actual songs, not just scores, which has been kind of new to Star Wars as well. But now we have this. We have a new an old '80s classic song re sung in a Star Wars language. And I don't know if it's going to be incorporated in the film or not, or if this is just for the trailer. My guess is just for the trailer. But so cool. Love that song, and I bet you that like goes up and creeps up into the. I'm wondering. I don't know. I wonder if it's creeped up into the charts at all, or the original song, if it's like popped up in the Spotify charts, because I know I listened to it a lot in the past week. I added it to some playlists, that song, and can't wait to hear that soundtrack. If they do any more like that, any more songs like that, the soundtrack's going to be amazing. So really looking forward to see what they do with that. But yeah, that is kind of everything this week. Not much news other than that. I did, I was watching today, honestly, and um, I know I hadn't watched all of them, and I got to go back and like really watch these because they're fantastic. The YouTube channel Star Wars Kids had the Star Wars like galactic stories. They were animated, and it was kind of like shorter retelling of characters and like excerpts from the prequels, the originals, the sequels. Telling the story of certain characters and certain elements of Star Wars. Fantastic. Um, I loved some of the animation styles of these little blips that are on the Star Wars Kids channel. And I remember like watching like one or two when they first came out, but I didn't realize how many they made. And I've been going through and rewatching those. So I don't know if you've watched any of them, but I really would go back and recommend to watch these galactic stories on the Star Wars Kids channel on YouTube. Fantastic, amazing, amazing animation, amazing like Some of them are really funny. The way that they kind of like tell some of the sides of the stories, especially the one about Chewbacca or the co-pilot. They basically talk about, and and then even like some of the ones where they do one with like the final showdown, the final duel in Return of the Jedi with the Emperor. And when it first starts off, it goes and basically, um, you see Palpatine in the chair with Vader and Luke, and they do like a flashback from Palpatine's perspective of his like quick rise to power, and then you go right back to that scene, and it's the way that they did some of these little shorts are outstanding. So I would definitely go back if you're if you're into the animation, different animation styles. It's got that manga look a little bit to it. Uh, that Japanese animation style, which it's just really really awesome little shorts. So yeah, kind of rediscovered that today as I was watching the Skeleton Crew trailer again, and then it kind of just I just let YouTube play, and it just started playing a bunch of those, which was really fantastic. When I played the trailer last night, I kind of went into some fan fiction for Star Wars, which was pretty cool. But sometimes it's just whatever pops up is I'll just kind of watch it and see what comes up, and if it's anything new or exciting that I've not seen, I'll just kind of watch those things. So, but yeah, Star Wars Kids, always forget about that, and I don't think it really gets promoted enough. I don't know where it does get promoted, but really, I think it might be just I think it is Star Wars Kids channel on YouTube, honestly. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, that's about it for tonight. Had a few people listening in watching tonight. Thank you for whoever was the third person. But Ben, thank you for joining in tonight. It's good to hear from you. And yeah, so I'm going to try to be getting to the parks a little bit next week. I was going to go yesterday, but it was a little bit hectic yesterday, and didn't really get out. And well, I did, but I did some kind of work related stuff, but not really. It was fun work related stuff. So I ended up coming home because it was raining. It was raining today a lot. But next week, hopefully the weather's good. I'll try to get back to Epcot. I think I got maybe one more week before Food and Wine stops. I can't remember. I would love to do that one more time. But and then the Festival of Holidays will start. I don't know when Jock Lindsay's changes over to their holiday theming and specialty items, but looking forward to that every year. That's always fun. And yeah, so that is about it for me tonight. As I was getting ready for this, I was actually looking at a lot of my stuff that I got from HalseyCon, and um, just because I'm trying to clean up my room a little bit, reorganize, and so much stuff. But really exciting. I actually forgot I still have my blue milk tea. I gotta do that at some point. So at least one of those to see what they taste like. That was looked like a lot of fun. So I want to try one of those. So. But yeah, so much stuff, so much stuff. I hadn't even gotten through half of it yet, but what an amazing time that was, and can't wait to do that again next year. So that is it for me tonight. Thank you for joining in. I will see you hopefully tomorrow on my YouTube channel again for Not Long Ago in This Galaxy. And if not, until next time, make sure we do something Star Wars. Watch some Star Wars, listen to some Star Wars, read some Star Wars, play some Star Wars, do something Star Wars. Most importantly, remember whatever you're doing, may the stars light your way. Have a great night. Have a great start to your weekend. It's getting there. Sabuite. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you next time.